This podcast is a 98 Studios production.
Today's the day, baby. Today's the day.
Today's the day.
Today's the motherfucking day.
Today is the day.
Today's the day.
Today is the day.
Today's the day.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to Today's the Day with Zack Anderson, and today it's just me and you guys hanging out. It's one of our solo episodes, and I'm actually really excited for this one, and the reason being is because the goal of these solo episodes is to try and go just speak openly about what I think about certain things or things that I've learned, or go and give any amount of value, hopefully, that I can go and provide in a shorter snippet of time. These are usually the episodes people watch when they're driving from one place to another and they've only got 10, 15, 20 minutes. So to go try and give you like a condensed version of information that's helped me a lot and hopefully could go and be of any value to you guys. And along with that, this one is something that I actually have prepped and gone and presented at certain events where people will call me to come and speak on stage and present and train and whatnot. And this is one of my actual trainings. So I hope there's some sort of value to from this episode for you guys. And the whole episode is going to be on the science of achievement. Now, before I get into it, I want to go and preface, I fully understand achievement is not everything, and achievement's a small part of the game of life. And fulfillment is the real goal. But the point of this is to go help give you guys the blueprint when there's something you want to go achieve, when you've got a goal that you want to go achieve and you've identified it and you know why you want to achieve it and you have the hunger. This is literally just the blueprint of the science of achievement. This is the blueprint of how to go achieve those things. So hopefully you guys take it that way, and hopefully there's any amount of value you can pull from it. But before I get into it, I want to preface really quick kind of how this whole presentation even came to be. And it goes back to my story and my career. And in my career, in the world that I'm in, it's door to door. And when I first got into it, I really, really struggled. And those of you guys who have watched my episodes of my story, you guys know in depth kind of how it went. But I got into door to door and I really struggled. I wasn't the hero story my first year. I didn't go crush. I didn't go achieve at a really high level. I was about as bad as you can get at the job that I had chosen to be a part of. And fast forwarding through the years, I had gone from about as bad as you can get, and I got pretty good. I got proficient. I really worked hard at it. I changed a lot of things. And then along my career, I've achieved some pretty notable things in the space. I went and I was a 300 account rep at Vivint, which was a massive, massive badge of honor for me and a massive accolade. I got to the point of earning 7 figures in a year doing this job. I went and I was one of the youngest, if not the youngest regional, at one of the biggest door-to-door companies out there. At 23 years old. And I've had a lot of fun doing all of it, but I've accomplished some pretty substantial things. And when I sit down with a new recruit, or when I'm being interviewed, or when people ask me to speak, there's like a very, very common question. And it's always been a very frustrating question because I don't know how to answer it. And when people ask me a question, I really want to have an answer, a good answer for them, especially if they're asking for advice. But the question that I would always get asked over all of the last 9 years is, Zack, like, how did you do it? How'd you go from 26 accounts, 12 grand in a year, very little revenue, to managing a whole region and selling personally massive numbers in comparison, and going and basically 30xing your production personally, and then developing leaders and training people? Like, how did you do it? Everyone wants to know how you did it. Like, what's the secret sauce? How do you go build a team? I want to build a team. How'd you sell so many? I want to sell so many. And it's so hard because that question would always get asked and I didn't know how to answer it. Like, I wanted to give an answer that I could, because I often only have a few minutes with someone, or maybe an hour if I'm lucky. And I could sit there for an hour and list a million things I did, and a million things that changed. But in reality, I wanted to be able to go and capsule an answer that they could take with them, they could apply it to what they're doing, and it could work for them. And that was really hard for me for a lot of years. And as you guys know, I talk about it all the time, and a lot of the content that I get comes from Tony Robbins and the Tony Robbins events. But literally this like aha moment came to me in the last 12 months when I went to the last UPW with me and a bunch of my guys, a bunch of coworkers. It was a blast. It was amazing. It was a great experience. But like, it literally clicked for me as Tony Robbins was teaching this principle. And mind you, I've learned this principle at events in the past. So it clicked for me going to this event for, I think it was my 5th time going to this exact event. And I was like, holy crap, like, that is the answer. That is how I did it. Now there's a lot of like spaces to fill and there's a lot of interpretation in it, but like that's a very easy way in less than 20 minutes of how I can go explain to people that I went and did and accomplished the things I accomplished in the amount of time that I accomplished them. And that was like the most like aha moment ever. So immediately I got home. I didn't have any speaking gigs or anything that I was going to go present this to right off rip, but I got home and I literally like I had to go create a presentation for this so I didn't lose it, and like so I could remember this is how I answer this question, and then also so I could go internalize it within myself because there's other things that I want to go accomplish. And it's really cool. Tony Robbins calls it the science of achievement. And I've kind of put a spin on it. I've added and subtracted and taken things away, et cetera, et cetera. And when I got home, as I'm like creating this presentation, I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, dude, I like this is the answer. Like this is how, and there's a few steps to it. And I'm like, how much have I really implemented this though? If I'm gonna go train on it and I'm gonna go and like and try and provide value with it, like how much have I used it? So I go back to my very first Tony Robbins event I went to in 2019, my notes. Um, and I'm like, have I been applying all of these steps? And the first step, which I'll get into in a minute, it directly aligns with my notes. I remember there was a day where we wrote down what we're going to go accomplish and what we're going to go achieve at this business mastery event I went to back in 2019. I was 19 years old. I had gone and done very, very, very little. I had no recruits, no team. And this is what I wrote down. I have my notes right here. I have a picture of them. I wrote down, I will create the top first year team at Vivint. I will be respected and learn to be the best without question. I will set a standard for all of my reps. It would show me that I can compete with the best. And I wrote that down saying I was going to create the top first year team. And like, these were like kind of at this time, these were more than audacious. These were kind of outrageous because I was not the guy that was expected. I was still struggling. I was getting better, but I was like not the guy that was meant to do it. Fast forward through my career, I did. I went and created the top first year team at Vivint that year. The next year we went and ran the number one office at Vivint. I became the youngest regional at Vivint. We had back-to-back years where we ran the number one office with the highest per rep averages. And it was an incredible journey and it was amazing. But I go back and I remember writing this down thinking like, holy crap, this is crazy to write down. And then I followed his blueprint subconsciously and consciously through some parts, but subconsciously, this blueprint and this formula for success. And then finding these notes from my first event and seeing how well it lined up with what I was trying to go and create this presentation for was so like it was almost like holy crap, that's like magic. Like I talk about top 10 and we did the top 10 journals and training your subconscious mind, and it's like there is this weird force when you go and start doing things in this order that kind of the universe gives you what you're trying to go and get. And it's really cool. The whole universe conspires to go and help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. And fast forward today, now I'm a director of sales. We've got 250 people that report to me. And Meraki has turned into this idea in these notes and completely materialized into this full-on powerhouse of a sales org. And it's amazing. And I feel blessed every day. And I love all the people that I do it with. But I'm like, okay, how do I go help people go do this? And it's really, really simple. The science of achievement is 3 steps. And I'll give you the 3 steps and I'll go into depth and I'll tell you how I applied that when I was trying to accomplish and how I'm going to apply that as I go try to accomplish more in my life. The first step in achievement is focus, right? The power of absolute clarity and commitment once you have the clarity. So focus. Get extremely focused and clear on exactly what you want to accomplish, set a deadline, make sure it's attainable, and then commit to it. That is the first step, right? So for me, the way that I went and I implemented this really early on is I created habits of goal setting that I stuck to consistently for years and years and years and years. And that's a big reason why we rolled out the top 10 journal. So you can go start the habit of goal setting. That gives you the focus and the clarity that you crave, right? And then what's another practice that was incredibly valuable once I got really clear on what I wanted and I committed to achieving it, and not conditionally, I unconditionally committed, meaning I will go figure this out and I will make it happen. I might not know how I'm going to do it. I might not have the strategy, but I'm going to make it happen, right? And then the other thing that I would couple with this focus and this clarity and the power of it is true visualization, where you close your eyes and it can be guided, it can be however you want, and you take a minute and you literally go and put yourself spiritually in the place of accomplishing that goal. And this is where it sounds a little woo-woo, it sounds a little corny. Some people listening are like, yeah, that sounds cool, but I'm never going to do it. And then other people are going to really lean in and do it. And then I think there's even a third category now where people do this step and they'll go visualize all day and they have their dream board and they don't accomplish shit. And because there's more steps. This is the first step, right? But going and visualizing and putting yourself there as if you accomplished it and feeling the emotions that you would feel as if you accomplished it is invaluable. And the reason it's invaluable is because your brain your brain cannot tell the difference between reality and a true visualization, meaning the same chemicals that would be released, everything is a parallel in your brain. Your brain can't discern which one's real and which one's not, which one's reality and which one's not. And if you're consistently living in this place where you've accomplished this thing, in my example, where I'm a leader and I'm leading the top first-year team, and I'm consistently living in that place, I'm going to start walking like that. I'm going to start talking like that. I'm going to start acting like that. And I'm going to start doing the things that I need to do to be aligned with that. Because the most powerful force in any human being is to act in accordance to their identity. Right. So if you can go create this identity of yourself and you can really feel it and put yourself there and visualize it, you will start acting in accordance to it. It's the most powerful force in a human being. Right. And that's how I went, and I've been practicing focus without even knowing it. And I love that I now have a way to put all this stuff into a presentation and be able to present it to people and answer this question of how did you do it, right? How did you achieve it? So focus is number one. Number two, and you'll notice along the way with these 3 steps, there are phases where people fall off the train, right? A lot of people don't even ever get to the point of having focus and clarity. They don't even set goals. They don't even know what they want. They just hope to have quote unquote financial freedom, and they want to be successful and they want to be independent, but they don't even know what that means literally. What is financial freedom? $100,000 a year or $1 million a year? What is it to you? Right? So focus and clarity is number one. The second step, which is where a lot of people fall off, like an insane amount of people fall off, and most of the Instagram influencers that'll tell you how to go find success, this is where they fall off. It's massive action. Number 2 is massive action. It's effective execution consistently over time, right? And this is the ugly, boring stuff no one wants to talk about, right? Step 1's inspiring and it's amazing. And you can go post an Instagram reel talking about how you have this new vision of what you want to go accomplish. And you can tell your friends about it. And you can create a dream board and put it up in your room. And you can do it. That's great. Massive action is effective execution consistently over time. Once you have that focus, now go have some massive action coupled with it. This is the work in the shadows. This is Steph Curry taking those millions of shots in practice so that he could make those very few shots during the game time. That's what massive action is, right? Now, how do you go take massive action? You model someone who is already getting the results that you want, and only somebody who's totally outstanding. Meaning once you identify someone who's getting the results you want in this category, right? You go and you interview them, or you go and you watch their podcast and you figure out what their plan of action is and you just model it. You just freaking copy and paste. That's what you do. And you only do that for people who are outstanding, right? Number 2, learn by total immersion. Massive action's incredible. Total immersion is the secret, right? If you're going to go into something, don't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Dive into that, risk it all, go and take massive action, not baby action, not baby steps, take massive action. Learn by total immersion, not by incremental learning. And the reason I love my industry is because you don't have an option. You learn by total immersion. You get shipped out somewhere that's brand new to you. You get dropped off in an area and you go work and you go practice and you go put everything that you're learning to use. And you often fall on your face by design because you're learning by immersion. And then number 3, or part of massive action, the last part, is just spaced repetition, meaning go repeat the mundane stuff. Go repeat it. If you're not learning, growing, and getting the results you want, then yeah, go do something else. Model somebody else that's getting better results. but spaced repetition, meaning a lot of people will go, they'll get number 1 down, they'll get focus and clarity, they'll know their goals. Number 2, they'll go all in for a week, all in for a week, and then they don't get their results and then they quit. And that is not massive action. The reason there's a little asterisk with massive action that says effective execution consistently over time is because patience goes along with massive action. You have to do something consistently for a consistent amount of time over time to go and see results. So that's step 2. You have focus, you have massive action. And step 3, this is something that I'm learning that's newer to me, but it's so freaking important and it's multi-layered. Step 3 is grace. Recognize grace in all things. And this one is so powerful. This one is for most people. If you get the first 2 down, you can probably go and start achieving and go and start excelling. But you'll have this bridge where you'll either have an ego that drags you down, or you'll have an attitude that drags you down, or you'll be so hard on yourself because you have this expectation of perfection, which is the worst standard you can set because you can never attain it. So you'll just beat yourself up. And that's where you find people where they self-sabotage. They get a really good thing going, they self-sabotage, right? And if you can go and implement this last piece, that's how you go achieve, and then continue to achieve, right? And grace is a really, really interesting thing. I think there's 2 pieces of this the way that I understand it. The first thing for me with grace is recognizing God in all things, God and grace in all things, meaning go understand that, yeah, you might be hot shit, you might be successful, you might be crushing, but you are nothing without the luck of being born where you were born in the situation you were born into. You are nothing without the lungs in your body that breathe, the heart that beats from the second you're born till the second you die, the millions of things that happened to go and have you be in the place that you're in. Don't ever forget and don't ever get ignorant to the point that you think you did it all, right? Whether you believe in God or the universe or whatever else, understand and recognize grace in all things, right? And this even comes down to like a human level. In my industry in solar, it's like, oh, dude, I'm the shit. Like I get this big old ego. It's like, dude, I'm taking part in something that was created by people who are way smarter than me over the last multiple decades, right? And if you're the owner of your own company, you're like, no, not me, dude. I created my own company. Okay, great. Did you invent the technology that you sell? No, you didn't. Did you manufacture the products that you sell? No, you didn't. Right? Did you come up with the idea and the origin of it? And even if you did at that point, if you're like, no, I invented this technology and everything. Okay, great. Did you invent electricity? Right? You can go work this all the way back to the point that you can go and find grace and God in everything. And you can go and give credit of your success to other people all the way back to the beginning of time. And that's really, really big for me. That prevents you from getting the ego. The other part that grace prevents is if you don't have a big ego, you might just be really hard on yourself and you might be striving for perfection. And if you're not perfect, you beat yourself up. Even if you're accomplishing all this, you beat yourself up. And I've struggled with that. And what this has helped me with is having grace with yourself. Like recognize grace in all things and God, and recognize that grace got you to where you are, right? There's a lot of parts of that. There's a lot that you did. Yes, give yourself credit, but also go have grace with yourself. Recognize, dude, you're doing the freaking best you can, and be honest with yourself. If you're not doing the best you can, recognize it, have a little bit of grace, be understanding, but then go improve, right? And then if you're doing everything you can and something goes wrong, do not go beat yourself up over that. If you're not the best in every aspect of everything, every year, always on top, don't go beat yourself up for it. Go have a little bit of grace with yourself. Go push yourself. Go and hit the next level. But the worst standard you can have is perfection. And unfortunately for high achievers, that's typically what their standard is perfection. So they live consistently in this state of, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing good enough. And I've been super guilty of this, and it's something I've worked on a lot. And having grace with yourself, like you should be your biggest supporter, your biggest cheerleader, your biggest best friend with the nicest things to say about yourself. And frankly, a lot of people, that's not the case. It's the exact opposite, actually. So having grace with me, with myself, has been like a game changer for me. And it allows me to drop the baggage of something that I might have messed up on or failed at. I can drop that baggage, which lets me run so much faster. And grace is the whole reason for that. So again, Just to recap, you guys, the 3 forces of creation, the science of achievement. Number 1 is focus. Number 2 is massive action, and number 3 is grace. And with the blueprints and the formulas from these people, you can go accomplish whatever you want to accomplish and achieve whatever you want to achieve. So this might have been more of a structured presentation type solo cast, but hopefully there's some value for you guys. And I hope you guys go and utilize the science of achievement because it's changed my life. So as always, you guys, thank you for tuning in. You guys are the only reason I'm able to keep doing this. And much love as always. Until next time.